Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nibedita Ray-Bennett, and I'm an associate professor in risk management at the University of Leicester. I'm also the founding president for Avoidable Death Network. Avoidable Death Network is a global network dedicated to finding theoretical and practical solutions to reducing death. Before I start my presentation, I would sincerely like to thank the UNISDR and the UNISDR's Ignite stage team for giving me this wonderful opportunity to come here and talk at the Global Platform 2019. So my presentation today will cover three features. First, I shall introduce what is understood when I use the term avoidable death. Secondly, I shall introduce Avoidable Death Network, a possible way forward to addressing the Sendai's first two global targets. And thirdly, avoidable deaths, or how to avoid disaster deaths, can be done in a number of ways. So what we have done, my colleagues over here today, has shared the questionnaires that we have brought with us. So the purpose is to generate or gather multiple perspectives on how to reduce disaster deaths. So I am also I'll try to finish my presentation within 10 minutes so that you have 5 minutes to complete the questionnaire, and it will be really, really useful so that we can collect and collate this information and share it with the global community on how to reduce disaster deaths. So to begin with, hazards, either natural or naturally triggered technological hazards or human-made disasters, has the potential to cause human mortality and morbidity. For example, in 2004, in the Indian Ocean tsunami, more than 200,000 people died. In 2015, in Nepal's triple earthquake, more than 7,000 people died. And most recently, we have heard about the Idai cyclone in Mozambique. So far, we know that more than 1,000 people have died. So, we know the consequences of natural hazards. But what we also know that the poor and the vulnerable communities disproportionately experience disasters compared to the developed countries. In 2011, Coppola published a report where we found that 53% of deaths occurred in developing countries, although these countries only accounted for 11% of the world's at-risk population. Now, we know deaths are of three types: primary deaths, secondary deaths, and the missing persons. The primary deaths are the deaths due to the direct impact of a disaster. The secondary deaths are a consequence arising due to an injury of a disaster. And these secondary deaths are the most contentious deaths, and they often don't get reported by the government organizations. I think our position is very clear. Deaths in disasters are no longer or not an act of God. They are rather human-made. Deaths can largely occur when the intensity of the hazard is severe. Second, deaths can also occur when people are exposed to unequal exposure to disaster risks, which are a consequence of the socio-economic systems which render people more vulnerable during disasters. And thirdly, according to the World Risk Index, deaths can also occur when people are unable to cope and offset the negative consequences of a disaster risks. And also people can die when people do not have that adaptive capacity to really, come up with long-lasting strategies for social development. Now, we take a position where we understand that deaths occur when the disaster management systems fail. How does that take place? When the disaster management actors and organizations fail to coordinate and communicate in a disaster climate. Now, we have made several publications on that. It's on the right-hand side. You're most welcome to read them. They're also available online, just to Google it. And ADN is also preparing many more publications on this particular topic. We also have made an input paper for the Global Assessment Report 2019 on avoidable deaths. So we are trying our best to make inroads into the mainstream aspect of disaster risk reduction. We also understand that deaths in disasters are avoidable, hence the term avoidable deaths. Avoidable deaths are basically preventable deaths. Some deaths, however, are unavoidable. For instance, we have a target. So target of anything less than 10 deaths are unavoidable. However, deaths above 10 are avoidable. However, but this target may vary from place to place depending on the socio-economic context of a country. Avoidable deaths continue to occur despite advancement in science and technology, early warning systems, increased sophistication in human-built environment, as well as ongoing policy and economic development worldwide. According to a renowned medical anthropologist, Paul Farmer, avoidable deaths are stupid deaths. So when these stupid deaths continue to occur, Johan Galtung calls it violence. And it is actually event violence when it takes place in the context of disasters. According to the Nobel laureate, Amartya Sen, he is a developmental economist. According to Amartya Sen, avoidable deaths are a matter of injustice, or gross injustice that require urgent attention. Now the question is, how could we advance justice for human lives in disasters, or how could we apportion justice for human lives in the context of disasters? Now there are a number of ways of doing it. I recommend 3 today. Number 1, human deaths must be identified as a matter of justice. Deaths in disasters can be reduced. Given the sophistication that has been achieved due to science and technology, policy and planning, yet deaths continue to occur. Accordingly, avoidable deaths should receive a high priority to promote justice and reduce this injustice that is taking place all around the world, and most severely in developing countries. Second, one way of prioritizing this to develop a goal to reduce deaths at any cost. In management science, the goals are the objectives, and the objectives' functions are to be maximized according to a management theorist, Geoffrey Puffer. Third, and most importantly, Amartya Sen's theory of justice focuses on social realization. Now, what is social realization? The social realization is assessed in terms of their utilities or happiness and the substantive freedom that people enjoy. Now, this approach should make disaster management actors and organizations accountable for what they do or they do not do to save precious lives. However, making actors accountable is very difficult, partly because the poor death reporting systems, and also these poor death reporting systems are complicated by local context and cultural norms. So what has been the UN's efforts to avoid disaster deaths? When I started working on avoidable deaths in 2013, the Hyogo Framework for Action did not set any targets of reducing human death. In 2015, the Sendai framework set 7 global targets. And the first 2 targets, number 1 is to reduce human death, and number 2 is to reduce the number of people affected by disasters. The UN also revised the Millennium Development Goals in 2015. Now it is currently called the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals have 17 goals. And the goal number 1, you could see, and the goal number 1, 2, 3, 6, 11, and 17 have implications of reducing disaster deaths or reducing the number of people affected by disasters. So ADN's objective, Avoidable Death Network's objective, is closely aligned with Sendai Framework's global targets 1 and 2 and the 6 goals that the Sustainable Development Goals have set. The ADN understands that deaths in disaster is a wicked problem. Wicked problem is unique. It needs to be understood at the seams of multiple disciplines, including sociology, development, gender, violence or conflict, environment, climate change, to name a few. Wicked problems have their roots in systems thinking, and wicked problems are influenced by humans' worldviews and different points of view, where the only way to resolve issues is to seek accommodation rather than solutions. So ADN therefore takes an interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and transdisciplinary approaches and partnerships wherever possible to avoid disaster deaths. So what is ADN, or Avoidable Death Network? ADN is a diverse, dynamic, and innovative global membership network dedicated to reducing deaths from natural hazards, naturally triggered technological hazards, and human-made hazards in low and middle-income countries. In collaboration with Kansai University in Japan, I officially launched the Avoidable Death Network at the 4th Summit of GADRI Conference in Kyoto University on 12th March 2019. Some of the participants who took part in Kyoto are here, and it's very nice to see them. And within 2 months, ADN has currently 17 organizational partners, 14 regional coordinators located in 5 continents. And today we have Pamela Kumujini. She is the regional coordinator of Uganda and sits at the Prime Minister's office. She's over there. And we also have the ADN's administrator, Peter, who is currently doing his PhD at the King's College London. He's sitting on the front row. So it's privilege that some of my team members are here today with us. We also have 11 advisory board members, 32 affiliates, 9 volunteers and interns, and a core management team led by 5 people. So ADN's mission is to find theoretical and practical solutions to reducing avoidable deaths. ADN's motto is very closely aligned with Leicester University, where I am based, and Kansai University, where my partner is based. So Leicester University's motto is, it's a Latin phrase, ut vitam habeant, which means so that they may have life. And in Kansai, it is gaku no jitsuge, which means translating theory into practice. Also, we believe in the transformative potential of remembering the lost ones. Hence, we have Virgil's wonderful and poignant phrase on my slide. So what do? We discuss and disseminate disaster and death-related news and innovative solutions to reduce disaster deaths. We promote collaborations wherever possible, advocate the agenda of mainstreaming avoidable deaths at the heart of disaster and development management activities. We publish biannual newsletter, and the first one is due in August 2019, and also actively secure public and private funding opportunities to promote the above objectives. So we welcome you to join the ADN as either an affiliate or an organizational partner or volunteer or an intern. To join or to just receive more information, please visit our website. We have it over there. Does this work? Yeah, that's my partner who is based in Kansai University, and that's our operation manager, Denise Corcel. So, as I have mentioned in the beginning, that my presentation also include collecting multiple perspectives on how to reduce deaths. So I have sought ethical approval from the University of Leicester, and my colleagues have already handed you the questionnaire. So anyway, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for listening to me. And now you have 5 minutes. Your time starts now. Please complete the questionnaire. But we also have an online link, but I would be very grateful if you could complete the questionnaire now, and we will collect it. Thank you.